To a workshop to join this training.
Yeah, I went to several workshops with Lisa Holloway. She's another master instructor in kind of my area, Southern
Okay.
California. And then last year, Danny had like an advanced chi running workshop at the Wellbeing Retreat Center in Tennessee. So
Hmm.
to that,
Yeah.
and that's where I met Danny for the first time, and that was really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. You got to work with Danny. That's cool. And Lisa's awesome too. I told her about you. She asked about you. So um okay, a few more minutes of any chatting else, questions, concerns, sharing. How's your foot, William?
Yeah, the tendon's doing all right. I'm still having some nerve issue from the neuropathy, but that's just a thing. Um, yeah.
I keep wanting to hear that because you're relaxing your feet and you're letting your toes drop that it's gotten better.
Well, it was a surgical injury to the nerve.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that it was they're doing a ligament tightening and they severed the nerve in the process that goes down to the bottom two toes. And then I sprained my ankle in June, and now I have all my toes in my left foot except the great toe with neuropathy. But because it's NHS, I'm still waiting for an ultrasound of my foot since from June to just see what's going on. But yeah.
Oh man, you and Anna, I mean, you guys are living in socialist healthcare, and I'm just, yikes. I don't want to
I
go
mean,
there.
it's lovely, and I shouldn't complain. We have a lot of the NHS is in a pretty bad position. The current government, new government, has just dumped a lot of money into it, and let's see. But waiting lists to be um, have some simple investigations are taking 6 months. I've I've been waiting for referral for 2 years since it was originally made. I've been told it will be 3 more years, maybe four, before I'm actually seen by the specialist. So, I mean, in theory, we have this care, right? But you know, there's only so many doctors and a lot of patients who want to see those doctors, and so there's a queue. That's
You
just
know, Anna's voice.
yeah.
I'm sure she'll be okay if I share this with you. She has a dysphonia, and she's been waiting for an evaluation of her voice and treatment for months.
Hmm.
Yeah, same thing. And she's in where is she? In Quebec?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's a tough situation.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, thank you for explaining. When you say neuropathy, it is painful then, yes?
Yeah, so I've had 4 or 5 spinal procedures to where they put steroids and electricity into the spine to reset. I've had those, and then I've been on duloxetine, but now gabapentin as a daily management. Gabapentin's a bitch though because it's 3 times a day, and it's not getting a much relief. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yikes. Well, geez, if you want to fly to the U.S. and pay for a private doctor, you're welcome to stay here.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind. That's
Yikes.
not where Vince is. They can't get any doctors there in rural Northeast. They just
Yeah,
do it.
he's he's very much in the rural Northeast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out there in the boonies. Yeah, we have being in Reno, we have the best healthcare you could want anywhere in the country. Yeah, I want an MRI. What do you mean you can't get me in for an MRI next week? Uh, you
Yeah, you're
what?
here.
2 weeks? Are you kidding me? We're spoiled, you
Yeah.
know. It's crazy. Okay, You guys, what I'd like you to do, I know, William, you saw my post in the network, in the community, so thanks for reading it. So what I wanted I did watch the video that Vince recorded last week. That's another thing that's tough, is now I got to spend time watching the video from the other class so I can teach it when it comes up again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if he watches my video or not, but anyway. Uh, so what I'd like you guys to do is I'd like you to teach about the psoas muscle. It seemed like there was a lot of confusion about that last week and what it does. So if you want to pull up, I want to say it's lesson, I think it's lesson 4. And let's see, lesson 4. Nope, it's lesson 3. Lesson 3, pull up lesson 3, and there's, if you scroll down to lesson 3, are you guys with me?
Yep.
Okay, where it says number 2, lift your ankles. I'd like you to teach that piece, because I think there was a lot of discussion about the psoas muscle and some confusion about it, or not. But who would like to go first on that one?
Yeah, so I can start there.
Okay, great.
So if you get in your position to start, so aligned, lengthened, and engaged, and then if you just start thinking about your feet and feeling that relaxed, and slowly lift up, peeling your foot up from the ground. And as you do this, you should not feel any tension in your leg as you do this. This is because the psoas is then picking up this leg, this muscle, or the psoas muscle is picking up the leg. And the psoas muscle runs between the T12 and L5. Is that? I think those
Correct.
are down through the hips and attached in the legs. So you're picking those up.
Good.
Now, a way to test if you're doing this correctly is if you now lean over, still lifting the legs up, doing the ankle lift, and if you can feel it in your quads, and when you straighten up, how does that feel in comparison?
Easier.
Do you feel, yeah, it feels easier.
Good. So tell me more, Hari, tell me more about the psoas muscle, because I want more detail than what William gave me. So where is this thing? He told me it was between T12 and L5, but I think there's a little more detail.
Yeah, so the psoas does attach from T12 to L5, and it goes all the way down to the lesser trochanter of the femur.
Good.
So yeah, they're essentially the really large hip flexor muscles that when you are aligned, they're positioned to help lift your legs during running and walking.
Beautiful. Now I know there was some, I think I showed it to you, and Vince asked you if I showed it to you, this picture of the psoas muscle, right?
Yeah.
And so the key to remember here is where the lesser trochanter is. So it's on the inside of the thigh, and it runs up deep inside the pelvis. So you can't see that sucker. You can't, you can't feel it. It's deep inside your pelvis. And it runs up and inserts, we call it insertion. Muscles have insertions and origins. So the origin of the psoas muscle is the lesser trochanter, and the insertions are the vertebral processes, in other words, the things that stick out of the spine, all the way up to T12. So it's like a big fan that's attached to your spine, and it runs down deep into your pelvis and attaches at the lesser trochanter. Now you could see that if your spine bent, what would happen to that psoas muscle?
It gets
Shorten.
extended.
It would fold in half, right?
Mm.
Okay, it would fold in half. So it wouldn't have any tension in it, would it? So it's like a rubber band. If you hold a rubber band at tension and then you kind of let it go and it's floppy in between, that's what happens with the psoas muscle.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
So
with,
it's not stretching as you bend. It's actually shortening.
it's shortening and has no power.
Yeah. Okay.
So okay, so when a muscle contracts, microscopically, muscle fibers do this. Okay, they slide against each other, and that is motivated by energy. Okay, when your brain says do this, your muscles react by contracting. So if the muscle slides this way, it gets shorter, right? It contracts, right? If it's already here, can't shorten anymore. There's no strength to it, right? It's like a floppy rubber band. So your psoas muscle is the same way. When you're standing up straight and it's long and tall, there's a place there, those muscle fibers can slide and contract. And they can do that when you lift your leg. So when you lift your leg, that psoas muscle is contracting. It's contracting. If I lean over, that psoas muscle can't contract. It's floppy. It's like a rubber band that just has it's loose. So what happens instead is that your quads have to take over. Okay, that's the point. So the magic of the psoas muscle is that it is the only muscle in the body that connects the femur, the big bone in your leg, to your back. And so when we talk about your legs starting here, that's what we mean. Does that make sense now, you guys? Does that make more sense? So instead of your legs starting down here, your legs actually start up here. Because when you run, there's going to be some flexion in your hip. There's going to be flexion in your hip. Even though in Chi Running, we tell you not to lift your knees. So we tell you not to lift your knees in Chi Running, right? It's knees down.
Yeah.
But there is still some flexion there. Okay, so your legs are attached up here. And coincidentally, it's pretty close to your dantian, right? Pretty close to your center of mass. Okay. So that makes sense, you guys? Yeah. Okay. Good.
I think what was helpful in that explanation, which I had not got before, was that the bend in the hips actually disengages the psoas. That wasn't clear. And that, that's why you feel it in your quads, because
yes.
they actually have to do the work because your psoas then can't. So
Exactly.
that explanation was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, that's a difficult one to get unless you understand how muscles work and what that particular one does. When you're in an anatomy class in any aspect of medicine, physical therapy, occupational therapy, nursing, medicine, whatever it is, that's all you study. Where is the muscle and what's its function? What does it do? Where does it insert? Where's the origin? What's its function? And so is it rotation? Is it abduction? Is it adduction? So anatomy is just it's all about memorization. But fortunately, all you got to memorize is the psoas muscle, and it attaches from T12 to L5. Or actually, it's L1 to L5. It doesn't attach at T12. It attaches right below. T12 is the vertebra that has the last rib on it, right? Thoracic T12. There's 12 ribs. The thoracic vertebra is where the last rib is attached. Okay. All right, cool. I'd like you to teach the 4 steps of chi walking. So let's say that we've just gone through the where's your dantian and lifting your psoas muscle, and so people are now, they've figured it, you taught them how to ankle lift, you've taught them where their dantian is, and they're walking in place. Okay, so now what are you going to do to get them walking? Who wants to go first?
I guess I can go.
Okay, go, Hari.
Okay. So I'd like you all to first engage your column, and then start walking in place by lifting your ankles. And then from here, put your mind on where your dantian is, which is about 3 fingers down from your belly button and 1 finger in. And then move your dantian ahead of your feet, and you should notice that you start moving forward, or in whatever direction you walk in.
Well, most of the time I walk forward.
Yes, but in case you go sideways or something. But okay.
Okay, good. What do I do with my arms? What do I do with my arms, William? I'm walking now. What do I do with my arms?
As you are walking and moving, your arms will have a natural motion to them. And as you speed up, they'll naturally, as you increase, as your pace increases, as you're moving your dantian forward, your arms will naturally lift up a little bit at the ankles. And you just encourage that by bringing that arm swing back and kind of letting go. So your wrist will come back to your hip and you let it go.
Good. Good. So if
And
I go really fast, where are my arms supposed to be? So I'm walking
so as you
really
increase
fast.
your pace, the arms come up a little bit higher and you
Okay.
can get to almost a 90-degree angle with your arm.
Okay. And actually it is 90 degrees. So
Okay.
yeah, it is 90 degrees. Good. So one of the things I noticed in your video last week, you guys, was your class video, was this confusion about arm swing, about how, what's the difference between chi walking arm swing and chi running arm swing. So your chi walking arm swing, just like you said, William, is you'll just allow your arms to swing naturally and let them come up as you get faster. And the thing to emphasize in the chi walking arm swing is that it's a rearward motion, and that your elbows don't come in front of your hips. So the difference, and I'm just going to say it now because we're going to talk about chi running arm swing. Chi running arm swing, the difference is that there is a rearward effort. Okay. So in chi walking arm swing, it's rearward, but you don't say, you're not emphasizing the aggressiveness of the arm swing. So when you're telling them how to chi walk, really they're wondering what they should do with their arms. So what you really want to point out to them is that in chi walking, the arms go rearward. Because a lot of people, you watch them, you guys, when you're watching people walk down the street, they walk like this. Their arms are in front of them. And if they want to go fast, they walk with their arms in front of them really fast. So that's the thing you want to emphasize when you're teaching them chi walking arm swing. And if you're, makes it really easy to go right into the Chi running arm swing. Good. So somebody do, Hari, go through the steps to align your posture, because you just taught these guys posture. You just taught them posture. So I want you to give me the 4 steps of posture. Tell me how to set up my posture before I start to Chi walk.
Okay, so
Okay.
the first step is to align your feet so that they're facing forward. And they're about hip width apart, or one fist width apart. And so once you've got that down, just make sure that your knees aren't locked. Otherwise, you'll be clogging some major arteries, and we don't want that. And so
Okay.
once your legs are relaxed and your feet are pointing in the direction that you're headed, the next thing to do is to lift from the crown of your head. So your crown is the back of your head. And so just do a gentle lift from there. And you should feel your lower abdominals. You should feel a slight tension in your lower abdominals.
Okay. What about my shoulders? What am I supposed to do with them?
So definitely you want to have your shoulders down and relaxed, as opposed to being hunched over. So
Okay.
just let them hang naturally, just relax.
Okay.
So as you lift from the crown, just make sure your shoulders don't rise up as you're lifting.
Okay. Why is it important? Why is it important to lift from the crown of my head? Why is that important? And my shoulders, what they're doing? What's happening with my chest?
Your chest opens up more, and so
Yeah,
that allows you to get in more oxygen as you're moving.
exactly.
And your spine
So,
is lengthening, so that also helps you be taller, and that in turn helps your chest expand and can absorb more oxygen.
okay, more air. Yeah. And what is the whole purpose of creating your posture and your alignment? What's the whole point? Why are we so stressing that such a big deal? Why is posture such a big deal?
If you're not aligned, your chi, your energy can't flow as easily. So it's kind of like if you're not aligned, you're like a kinked hose.
Okay, I'll buy that.
So yeah, having the alignment just ensures that all of your moving parts can move with as little effort as possible.
Oh, you're getting close. William, help Hari out.
Speed running is fundamentally about working with the forces that you have with you, the force of gravity and the force of the oncoming road. And so when you have good posture and you're well aligned, you're not counterbalancing those forces. So when you have good posture and your leg is landing underneath you, the road is pushing your leg back and not your body.
Very good.
Is
Excellent.
yeah.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Posture is essential for being able to cooperate with the 2 forces that act on every runner, which is gravity and the force of the road coming at you. If you're a noodle, if you're standing like this and gravity's pushing you down, and every time you land, there's a collapse there. And so if you're collapsing in your skeleton, then what has to hold you up? Something else has to hold you up. Muscles, tendons, ligaments, all that stuff. I remember I had horrible back pain at about 5 miles when I started running. And when I learned Chi running, my back pain disappeared because my posture was better. I stood with my knees locked, my feet out, and my hips forward. And I thought this was good posture. Most people do. They think that if your chest is lifted and your shoulders are back, that's good posture, just because they don't know how to manage this piece. Okay, good.
Well, that's covered out in school.
Right.
We're taught to sit up super straight with our chest out and shoulders,
Oh, gosh, right?
paying dearly for it.
Exactly. And no wonder people, what is it, 80% of Americans have back pain at some time in their adult life? That's craziness. We don't teach posture, except the old ways that your grandmother taught us or whatever. Okay, cool. Let's see what else did I want to talk about. Okay, so let's, I'm going to quickly, see what time is it? It's 4 o'clock. Awesome. We have lots of time. So, oh, somebody teach how to walk backwards. Somebody teach that one and talk to me like I'm your student. Talk to us like we're your students. And we're starting chi walking and people are walking around and stuff and they're getting this feel of ankle lift and falling from their center. And now you're going to teach walking backwards. And oftentimes, you guys, I will teach walking backwards very quickly after or very soon after I start them chi walking. In other words, the first time that they do this, I'll say, okay, start lifting, ankles relaxed, toes down, ankles up. Now focus your mind on your center, on your dantian, and move your dantian in front of you. And I'll have them do that for maybe very, very short period of time. Just having them walk so they can see that their ankles are relaxed and there's no effort. They can feel that they're falling forward. And then I'll teach them backwards walking. So, Hari, tell me, why do I want to teach backwards walking? What are they going to learn?
So typically when people walk backwards, they're generally in better alignment and their stride is shorter. And so if you have them pause during their backwards walking and you cue them in to move forward by leading with the dantian, they usually get the forward movement alignment right.
Okay, show me. I mean, I'm your student. What are you talking about?
Okay. So first, get into your good posture. Align your feet, relax your knees, lift from the crown of your head, feel the core engagement. Locate your dantian with your mind. 3 fingers down from your belly button and 1 finger in. And start walking in place by lifting your ankles. And then move your dantian ahead of your feet. Start walking forward. Okay, and now stop walking forward and start walking backwards. Okay, so pause walking backwards. Now
okay, show me where you're paused. Show me where you're paused. Where am I supposed to pause when I'm walking backwards? Where do I stop? Here?
So stop when you have your front foot ahead of your when you're
right there?
Yes, like that.
Okay. Now what?
So now put your mind on your dantian and start walking forward by lifting your legs forward. And you should notice that your body gets into the right alignment by walking forward, and that your strides are at the right length.
Okay, so what is the right alignment? So I'm walking backwards and you told me to stop with my 1 foot in front of me. What is right about this alignment?
Your leading leg is bent, or the knee is bent, and your foot is directly underneath your knee, which is a good sign.
That's good, but why would I walk backwards? You see, look at my upper body. I'm here, I'm not here. What's the difference? When I walk, right? When I walk backwards and I stop, look at where my upper body is. What you want to tell people is people naturally lean forward when they walk backwards, right? Do you see that?
Yep.
Right? So if I stop, notice how this is not vertical, right? I'm not stopped here. I'm stopped here, right? So do that. Do that for me, Hari.
Right.
So walk sideways so I can see you. Go sideways. Go way as far forward as you can in the room. Okay, there you go. Now walk backwards. There you go. Good, William. Good. Now stop, Hari. Now look in the camera. Notice how your body is tilted slightly. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, put your weight on your front leg so you can feel that tilt. Yeah. Okay, now, what are you telling people? You don't need to tell them to focus on your dantian. All you need to tell them is to just walk forward. Because what's going to happen? They're going to fall naturally because they're tilted. Do that and feel it. You feel how you're falling?
Yeah.
Do you get that, William?
Yeah, so like if I could try, like so
Yes,
if you're
please.
when you're coming into that backward position and you're stopping here,
Yes.
if you stop with your weight through the leg that is down, where you're and you kind of wait there, you can't help but to fall forward now because your weight is here.
Correct.
Your
Yep.
whole body is already aligned
Yes.
in this position.
Yes. You notice how my body is I'm not upright. Because naturally when people walk backwards, and you guys, this is true for about 80% of my students. Sometimes stuff doesn't work, when you teach this stuff. Sometimes people don't feel it. Most of the time they do get this one. I tell people to walk backwards and I emphasize, look, you guys, let's walk backwards and look what happens. We naturally bend over, and I exaggerate it. Really exaggerate it. Look at how I bend over when I walk backwards. People do that because they don't want to fall over. It's an instinct to walk backwards and bend at the waist, right? So once you have them stop, just like you said, William, as soon as you start walking forward, you're already falling, right? So practice that, and maybe practice it in the mirror so you can see it. I think Vince also talked about your statue, right? Your statue. That's from here up. So notice when you walk backwards, your statue tilts. See how I can move? That's my statue. I can move my statue. So when you chi walk, there is a slight tilt in the statue. That is not true for chi running. You don't tilt the statue in chi running, right? Because when we land on one leg, we're right here. We're not like this. We're like this. But when you walk, the statue is slightly tilted. Okay, so it's here. It's very subtle. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, I think it does. And the difference is about the momentum. It's about that force of you coming down of gravity. So
Yeah.
if you have that more tilt as you're running, you're basically falling on your face. Like you're encouraging your top half to fall down. Whereas when you're walking, it's just about balancing your body. And so
Exactly.
that exercise of walking backwards is really about playing with the balance between the weight on one foot versus the other. and the shifting of that weight and that energy is where you feel that fall forward when you move from the backward to the forward fall.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got it. You've got it. And remember to keep it simple, when you're explaining it. You guys, okay, everybody stand up, be in your best posture, lengthen, engage. Now let's just walk backwards. And then show them how you bent over. Just show them how you bent over. Now I want you to stop right there. And then show them. Say, look, you guys, look at how you stopped. Look at how my body is angled. Okay, now don't change that angle. Just lift your ankles and keep going forward, and they'll naturally fall. Right, exactly. It's a totally different thing in Chi running. And that lesson we're going to talk about today. Okay, good. I know Vince taught arm swing. So let's dive into arm swing. Any questions about that, you guys, about Chi walking? I know you talked a little bit about pelvic rotation. Pelvic rotation doesn't have to happen at this point in the lessons when you're teaching somebody Chi walking up through Chi running, but you can definitely do it, and you should. When you're demonstrating Chi walking, go ahead and add your pelvic rotation. Some people will notice it, some people won't, or they'll try and figure out what the heck are they doing swinging their hips like that. Right? So if you're demonstrating any Chi walking, don't hesitate to use that pelvic rotation. And you should be practicing it. You should be able to do pelvic rotation no matter how fast or how slow you're going. But you don't have to teach it. You can speak it. You can say, I want you to just notice how my hips are moving from side to side. We'll talk about that later. Okay. So as you practice pelvic rotation or practice Chi walking, bring in pelvic rotation. Did Vince, I can't remember, I didn't write a note about it. Okay. Pelvic rotation, well, let's not talk about that for a little bit. Let's do arm swing. So we've just finished Chi walking. Oh, let me ask you a question. How do you go faster in Chi walking? I know you know the answer to this.
You move your dantian more forward.
Right. What else?
You raise your arms up higher.
Okay, but I want to go faster.
And you increase your cadence.
Yes! Good. Right. Increase your cadence. Okay. And what happens to your stride length?
It stays the same.
Yes! Awesome. Very good. So that's the key difference between Chi walking and Chi running is the stride length stays the same, but the cadence increases with Chi walking if you want to go faster. What other differences are there? These are quiz questions. What is the difference between conventional? Give me some differences between conventional walking and Chi walking.
Well, with Chi walking, you are using much more of your muscles to move forward and your legs, and you're feeling that. You're landing a little bit differently on your feet, so you're not landing with the balls of your feet, are the heels of your feet, as with conventional walking. And Chi walking.
Landing, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Where are you walking with Chi walking? Where are you landing with Chi walking?
It's more midfoot towards the if your foot's divided into four sections, your toes one, your heel being four, is about in that three section that you want to land with your foot. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah, it is. More simply, and in the script, it's in front of your heel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in front of your heel instead of on your heel. So in conventional walking, you're landing right on your heel. In chi walking, you're landing a little bit in front of your heel. Okay. And so what's happening with your ankles in conventional walking?
They're bending upward versus being
Yeah,
in lifting. So they're actually
right. Yeah, they're really tense. And that's
Mm.
called dorsiflexion. So when your feet are doing that motion, your toes up to your shins, that's called dorsiflexion. So dorsi is the top of something, the dorsum of your hand, the dorsum of your foot. Dorsiflexion, the ankle is flexing. So dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, plantar, the bottom of, flexion, moving away from. Okay, you're actually flexing the foot away from the dorsum. So dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. When you push off, you're pushing, you're plantar flexing. And that, what does that do? That uses these little tiny muscles back here. That's what creates what? Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis. Okay. When your foot is doing this actively, you're gonna really stress the muscles in the lower leg. Okay. So if you're walking really fast conventionally and you're dorsiflexing and landing on your heel because you're reaching out in front of the body and your leg is straight when you reach out in front of the body, that's where shin splints come from, right? You ever had shin splints where that you get that pain up here? It's usually from what we call overstriding. You're reaching your foot out in front of your center of mass with a dorsiflexed foot. So, and I have my students do this. You guys do this right now. Dorsiflex your foot and feel the tension in the top of your calf. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are doing that, that's kind of an aha for people. If you're not cooperating with gravity and you're pushing off to move forward, what are you doing? You're pushing with the foot and you're using this muscle to push. If you want to push, you got to use these muscles to push the foot. If you're dorsiflexing and you land with that foot out in front of you, you're whacking that foot into that concrete, into the force of the road, right? And then you're going to get shin splints. So the force of the road, you guys, is relative to the speed that you're going. So if you're running a 6-minute pace 35 years ago, that road is coming at me at 10 miles an hour. So if I'm reaching into the road with a straight leg, a dorsiflexed foot, and landing on my heel, that's an incredible amount of impact. Remember, we talked about the force of the road is one of the forces. But if I fall forward for my center and my foot lands underneath me, and I allow the road to sweep my leg behind me, I'm cooperating with the force of the road. So that 10 miles an hour on my legs doesn't translate to that same impact. Okay, so I'm avoiding injury. Likewise, if I'm running a 10-minute mile, going 6 miles an hour. So it's less impact. The force of the road is coming at me at 6 miles an hour instead of 10 miles an hour at a 6-minute pace. So what does that tell you about speed work? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm not following that one.
I
Okay.
guess, or are you talking about just ways to run faster without?
Yeah. What does it tell you about speed work? if I want to start running fast, what do I need to make sure I'm doing?
You have to fall more with the Dantian and make sure you're relaxing your moving parts even more so that
Yeah,
strike
exactly.
and you're covering distance, but you're still not absorbing that the resulting increased impact of the room.
That's right. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is they start getting in shape. They've been running for, 3 or 4 times a week for a month or so, and they're like, oh, I'm ready to go to the track and do speed work, right? They don't have the technique and they're reaching out in front of their body. They're going to be hurt after one session. They'll never come back. Okay. If you ask Danny, about speed work, and this is what I tell my clients too, is you should be able to run at least 30 miles a week for a year before you even walk on a track. Okay, you just want to have good technique before you go fast. Otherwise, you're yeah. Okay, I'm going down a rabbit hole. Let's go back to arm swing. So teach me how to swing your arms. How do you swing your arms? We're going to talk, and this is chi running arm swing. So how we're leaving chi walking behind. We've done chi walking, ankle lift, blah blah blah, and now we're going to talk about chi running arm swing, and then we'll finally get to lesson 5, which is what we're starting today. Yeah, and so let's spend 5 to 10 minutes on chi running arm swing, maybe more. Who wants to start? So you got your class, they're standing around, now you're going to teach them arm swing. William, go.
So in tree running, ideally we want 50% of the work to be done by the top of our body. And to use our arms efficiently, because we are using gravity, and if we move our arms in concert with our legs, then we can do that. So in tree running, the arm swing is a backward arm swing, just as with tree walking. You're moving the force backwards. And you're thinking of it kind of like as if someone is pulling back your elbow and just letting it go, and seeing where that goes with a angle of 90 degrees. So someone's pulling it back and then letting it go, and it just falls down. And it keeps on being pulled back to the wrist, to the hip, and letting go.
Okay.
The shoulders relaxed. And as you go faster, you just keep on bringing that back and letting it go a little bit quicker. Maintaining that fluidity of the motion.
Good. Nice pelvic rotation there, Hari.
Thank you.
Okay, what else, Hari? What else about arm swing? What else do you want to tell me about my arms?
So I'll go into a little more details on your finger position.
Okay, yeah.
When you're holding out your arms, when you're swinging your arms. So first, I'd like you to hold out both arms like this. Make fists, but don't clench them. And your thumbs should just be resting on top of your pointer fingers. And so and just make sure that your wrist isn't flexed or in any other weird position other than just straight in line with your elbow. And
Good.
so this should be the position that you're holding your arms. You shouldn't feel any tension whatsoever. And so as you swing your arm rearward, you're essentially going to have like a space between your upper portion of your arm and your torso, and that's required because if you swing your arms like this, you're kind of tensing your shoulders and you're not really getting a fluid arm swing. And so your arms swing in a V shape, and depending on speed, how far back you swing your arms further back, the more you increase your speed. However, you don't want your arms to swing forward in front of your body or crossing like this, because then you're creating shoulder rotation and taking away from pelvic rotation.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop you. So a couple things, you guys. What I do, set people up so they are set up to have good arm swing. So everybody stand, and stand in your best posture. And then I want you to imagine a string that's attached to your mid forearm here. Imagine the string attached to the sky, and that string just pulls your arms up. Right? Good. And pull them up into 90 degrees. Right? So you've now used the least amount of effort to bring your arms up to 90. Now notice where your arms are. Your arms, your elbow is right alongside your torso, right? And if your arms are at 90 degrees, your wrist is above your hip. Okay? So then, just like you did, Hari, notice that your hands are relaxed, they're lightly curled. So like you're holding a potato chip you don't want to crush, or a butterfly you don't want to crush. Your thumbs are on top. Your arm is aligned, it's straight. So your arms are mindfully relaxed and aligned. Remember that whole alignment and relaxation are two sides of the same coin, right? This is a great example of it. Your arms are aligned, but they're relaxed, okay? A lot of people, especially women, you'll see them run like this. You know, well, my hands are relaxed, right? Kind of flopping in the breeze. Okay, that's not mindful relaxation. Okay, alignment. And if you really want to get into the weeds about this, we're talking about energy flow, right? From the center where the needle is down your arm, like out your fingers, okay, and relaxed fingers. Your hands are about a volleyball width apart. So just like you explained, Hari, there's a V shape. It's a V shape. So when your arms swing, they're swinging almost in a V. So there's light between your arm and your torso, like you said. You don't want to hold your arms in tight. You also don't want to hold your arms out here like this. People that run long distance will typically hold 2 water bottles, and they'll run like this. Crazy, right? So never carry anything. If you notice that one arm is doing one thing and the other arm is doing something else, it's likely that the person is carrying something in their hands, maybe their keys or a water bottle or something, right? Now, here's the most important part. When you swing your arms, make sure that your range of motion, and I think Anna touched on this last week. She wanted to know where your arm should go. So your arm swing is from your elbow to your wrist, elbow to wrist, elbow to wrist. And no matter how slow you're going, and this is one place where I wanted to correct you, Hari, no matter how slow you're going, you can still use that full swing. Okay, if I'm running really slowly, I mean, my arms are still swinging pretty good. Okay. So Hari, one of the things I notice about your arm swing is your wrists don't go back here at all. You're right up in here. Can you see that? Swing your arms and go to the side for me, Hari. There you go. Now just swing your arms. Yeah. Now drop your shoulders. Drop your shoulders, not your arms. Just drop your shoulders. Yeah, good, William. Yeah, William, just make sure you don't drop your hand below your hip. You've got really long arms and you have a long torso. So don't drop your hands.
I used to be one of those who ran like this.
Did you?
I was the gayest runner ever.
That's funny. Yeah,
I
that's
for like this, Cheryl. So
you used to run like that?
sometimes when I was first learning arm swing and from reading the book, I would
You're out here. Yep. Oh, you guys, arm swing is magical. When you get how to swing your arms, I mean, people they're so tense up here. They think that their arms don't do anything, but they are huge component. You know, William said 50% of the work is done by the upper body. It's done by your arm swing. You know, that is so true. Why is that true? Okay, I'm going down another rabbit hole. I think Vince talked about the whole X thing. Did you talk about the X?
Yeah,
X?
sort of if you think about the engagement of the body from the shoulder to the hip.
Yes. So you notice, stand up, you guys, and do pelvic rotation with me. Swing your arms and let your hips go. Yep. There you go. Now, I want you to focus on your arm swing, you guys, both of you. Okay. And Hari, let that elbow come back. You're right up here. There's no, really let it come back. Yeah, good, William. More. Okay, that's better. So Hari, when you were demonstrating how to swing your arms, you did it really well when you were just going, okay, bring them back and then come in, because it was like there was a pin right on your shoulder and only your arm was rotating. And that's what I want to see. I mean, sorry, only your arm was swinging, right? And then, but when you start swinging your arms, your shoulders get real tense and I can see you doing this. Can you see that? Go ahead and swing your arms. Okay, slow down and just go all the way back, relax, back, relax. Yeah, get that range of motion. So another way to feel this whole idea of back relax, you guys, is stand and just hold your arms back, both of them. Hold them back. Now notice, Hari, how your shoulders just came up big time. Relax your shoulders. So your shoulders went like this, up by your ears. You got your shoulders by your ears. So back, relax. Do you feel that effort rearward? Bend your arm more, 90 degrees, William. Back, relax. Back, hold it, and then let go. If you are relaxed when you let go, yeah, notice how my arm just swings. I'm not doing that. I'm just back. I'm so relaxed that the weight of my arm is swinging my arm. I'm not swinging it. Yeah, see how you just stopped it, Hari? That's how tense you are. That's how tense your shoulders are. Back, relax. Back.
Focus I was given when I was learning arm swing that may be helpful.
Yes, please.
Think about like pin the tail on the donkey.
Yes.
If you your arms like the donkey, the tail of the donkey, like they're just
Yes.
pinned. Like forget about your shoulders. Just think about like if it's just kind of dangling there.
Yeah, think of a dowel. Another one I use is pin the tail on a donkey is good. A dowel, like a piece of wood is just stuck through your shoulder and it's swinging around that dowel. Better. Back, relax. Just let it go, Hari. Back, relax. Relax. Let it go. Do this. Straighten your arm out. And just go both arms back and relax. Okay. Back. Now watch my arms. I'm going to relax. Look at what happens to them. They just swing. Yeah, but don't make them swing. Let them swing. Allow them. Back. Relax. Relax. Yes. Do you see the difference?
Yep.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay, if your arm swing is like this, look at how tense I am. You don't need to be tense going forward. It's just a relaxation going forward. Okay? When you swing your arm rearward, what happens? If you're using pelvic rotation, look at what happens. My opposite hip goes forward in pelvic rotation. You can see my hip move, right? What's going on here, you guys? The obliques, the big muscles in your belly, are contracting and relaxing. Contracting and relaxing. I add arm swing to that. Contract, relax. If I add effort to the rearward arm swing, what happens? All the stuff is attached. My pectoralis muscles, my obliques, they're gonna have huge power. That's where the power is in Chi running.
Cheryl,
Yeah.
are we actually working to tense these core muscles
No.
as we're doing it? Or it's just happening because
It's happening because you're aligned. It's happening because you're aligned. So what's alignment? Alignment is engaged core. So your core are the rectus abdominis. That's that one that makes the six pack, right? The rectus abdominis, that's part of your core. Then you have the obliques. And when you're standing, remember in posture exercise, we talked about doing this, the weight shift, right? You can only shift your weight like this if your core isn't engaged, right? What core muscles are we talking about here? Which ones? Obliques and glutes. Yep, obliques and glutes. So the answer to your question is, if you're in alignment, if your core is engaged because you're lengthening from the crown of your head, yeah, there's going to be some tension right here in your obliques. I mean, you can feel them. If you just stand on one leg, you guys, do a one-legged posture stance, and just feel the tension in your obliques, feel the tension in your glutes, the gluteus medius. Those are these guys on the sides, okay? Right? So if you're landing in pelvic rotation, allowing that leg to be swept rearward, yeah, if you're engaged here, then your obliques are going to add power to that stride.
I think that was the word that kind of got me. You said power, so I was like, if we're adding that power, are we doing that? But it is through that just natural. Okay, gotcha.
It's natural, and remember, the power comes from falling forward. The more you fall forward from your dantian, and the more you use pelvic rotation, the more you allow that leg to go rearward with the force of the road. And remember, I know Vince was talking last week about Meb Keflezighi. He has a 6-foot stride length, and he's like 4'12", 11 or something. He's really short, but his stride length is tremendous. It's because he has a tremendous amount of flexibility in his hip flexors, and he has strength in his quad, in his hamstrings, in his extensor muscles back here. He has a lot of strength there. So we don't talk about that in Chi running, but when you use pelvic rotation and you're allowing that leg to go rearward, I mean, you've seen elite runners and their ankles are up by their rear end and their stride length is long. That does take strength. Yes. That takes hamstring strength to lift those ankles.
There's a video of Ruth Ambanyago at the moment coming in to finish, and that leg is all the way back there. Just has like how can you get that leg that stride? That'd be incredible. I'd love to have that openness.
Yes, I know, it's nuts. I think I was cracking up. I was listening to the video because Vince goes, "Yeah, my Garmin says that I have I might have a meter stride length. That's 3 feet. On any
Well, I
given
have to.
day." Yeah, me too. I'm like at 0.7, 0.8 on a good day when I'm really fast, right? So, it's amazing. So yeah, there's strength involved. Absolutely. I mean, the more you fall forward, the easier it is, but it does take strength to keep falling forward, right? Because what's a fall forward? What is it? It's a plank. Okay, let's do this for 26 miles. Right?
That's fair.
I mean, seriously, that's what we're talking about. So Runner's World and all those, the big coaches and stuff, they say, oh, you got to do planks, you got to have core strength, you got to have this and that. They don't tell you why. Well, that's the why, you guys. It's falling forward and using that posterior chain of muscles, the hams, the glutes, in our case, the obliques. So when you swing your arms, you can remember, we're transferring the work of running from the lower leg, because we're not pushing off anymore, to these guys. This is where the work should be, because these are where the big muscles are. Why would I be using these guys? They're tiny compared to the rest of it. Okay, so great. That's arm swing, you guys. Now, when you do arm swing, what time is it? 11:45. When you do arm swing, I like to use the metronome. So, Hari, your homework, well, both of you guys, stand in front of the mirror and practice arm swing. Really look sideways and to the front and feel that rotation around, the pin the tail on the donkey, the rotation, and know that you can, it's not very much, you guys. From here to here is very little. I mean, that's not very much. From wrist to elbow, wrist to elbow, wrist to elbow. And if you're going faster, you can go hand to elbow, hand to elbow. There's more of a rearward effort. Okay. But when you're just, when you're walking or running, do the minimum range of motion. It's not that much. Okay. And it's, it's relaxing. So just let your arms swing. Don't try and inhibit that forward motion. Okay. If your arm is if your elbow is coming in front of your hip, you're pushing the elbow, you're pushing the arm forward. Okay, you shouldn't be doing that. Another thing to watch for is don't drop your hand below your wrist. So we call this pumping. Okay, so you don't want to pump. And if you really want to get in the weeds about this, you'll notice that to keep my arms at 90 degrees, if I pull back, notice that the angle of my arm is reduced. It's less than 90, isn't it? And as I come forward, it comes back to 90 because I'm keeping my wrist above my hip, right? So, yeah, exactly. You'll notice if you come back, when you're in the rearward position, the angle of the arm is less than 90. And then once you swing it forward, notice how my wrist isn't dropping at all. But when my arm comes forward, it's at 90. When it's rearward, it's less than that. Yeah, that's better, William. Keep your wrist up. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna start on lesson 5, and we're gonna continue lesson 5 next week, because it's a
Cheryl,
yeah.
I don't think we went through Weichi,
Oh yes, Ichi. Yeah.
Ichi, and just sort of how are we connecting the arm swing to that visualization? I don't quite get that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can introduce Ichi at different points in the lesson. Ichi is a great, so Y apostrophe CHI means EYE means intention. So
Okay.
energy intent, energy intention. So when you practice Ichi and you focus on Ichi, what you're doing is focusing on one thing. So I noticed, I'm not going to take the time to look, but I noticed that Vince said, yeah, we're going to talk about I Chi next week. And I thought that was interesting because it's now in the arm swing lesson. So I thought, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. So I'm scrolling down into that, describing in I Chi. We used to put I Chi in another lesson. So this is great. We just moved it. It's okay. I Chi means to focus your eyes. Focus your eyes on a point 30 to 40 yards ahead of you. And remember that you can only focus on one thing at a time in your running practice. 2 things if you get good at it, like, lengthen, engage, lengthen, lift my ankles, lengthen, lift my ankles. That's what I focus on all the time. Lengthen, ankles up, lengthen, ankles up, lengthen, so I don't trip. So if you're thinking of I Chi, you're focusing on a point 30 to 40 yards ahead of you. And a lot of people like I Chi because it lengthens you from the crown of your head. Like there's a third eye and your forehead, and that energy is a focus on a point. And you keep changing that point as you get closer to it. So it's an energy focus. It's kind of a way of getting you down the road. And when you're focusing on I Chi and you're swinging your arms, that's a good thing to focus on when you're focusing on arm swing. So you might be going back, relax, back, relax, back, relax, while you're focusing on a point 30 to 40 yards down the road. Back, relax, back, relax. There's my point, back, relax, back, relax. In the meantime, you're doing something wrong with your legs, but that's okay. Remember, you can only focus on 1 or 2 things at a time. So if you find yourself working a couple focuses and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, my feet, I'm reaching out in front of me. I'm not focusing on my dantian. You can bring yourself back to that. In fact, a lot of people like to focus I Chi, that point 30 to 40 yards ahead, as well as their dantian. So I'm falling forward. There's my point. And the point keeps moving, obviously, because you're going down the road. So the whole idea is to use I Chi together as a partner to pull you down the road, mostly in keeping your alignment and lengthening from the crown of your head. So that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff.
So there's not a particular element of arm swing that is attached. It's just combining that intention with any of the focuses we use.
I would say so. I think it's, somebody decided to put it in the arm swing, and that's cool. A lot of times I've used it, when you're say you're exhausted and you're in a really long run, use I Chi to get you from one point to the other. Okay, I'm just going to get to that tree. So you focus on the tree with your I Chi. And before you know it, because of your focus, you're there. And then you create a new focus. Yeah. Think of it like a cat. You've seen cats stalk their prey. They're like, there it is. And they stop and they freeze. and you can see the intention, and they lift their foot up and they're looking really hard at that thing, and then they lift the other leg and they're super intense, and then they jump and they grab the mouth, right? so, so think of that like I Ching, like that intense visual focus on a point ahead of you that literally pulls you forward. So when you're exhausted, that's, it's a great place to go with your mind. And then, you'll get through that last mile or two or whatever. Cool. Oh gosh, you know what? There's some arm swing tests that we didn't do. I want you guys to read the arm swing test. The against the wall test would be good for both of you guys. So I'm going to show you what the against the wall test is. Let's see. No, there's a wall. Okay. So if you have somebody, and this is a good one for you guys to do, but if you have somebody who is swinging their arms with their arms way in front of them, you can stop it by doing this. So you come up to the wall, you bring your arms up to 90 degrees, then you move close enough to the wall so that your fists are right on the wall, right? Now, start swinging your arms, and you'll notice you cannot, unless you want to whack your wrists really hard, you can't swing past your hip, right? Lengthen from the crown of your head, William, so you get some good posture. Relax your upper body. Yeah. Okay, start over from the starting place again, William. I want to see where you start next to the wall. Go next to the wall. Okay, bring arms more at 90. See how your arms are more than, yeah. But just bend them, don't, okay, wait. Let's start over. Arms at your side, everybody arms at your side. Just bring your arms up to 90 degrees. Don't do anything with your shoulders. There. Good. Okay, now walk carefully to the wall. Yeah. Stop. Okay, now swing your arms. Yeah. Relax your shoulders. Lengthen from the crown of your head, William. Relax your shoulders. Okay,
It's
come
really
back.
hard to do this with the wall.
Good. That's better, Hari. That's much better. Lengthen from the crown of your head, William. You're looking at your feet. Okay, now relax your shoulders. Okay, come back. Okay, here's another one for you. So William, you're really, those shoulders are getting up around your ears. Okay, so away, and Hari, this will help you relax too. Put one hand on your shoulder. Bring that arm up to 90 degrees, right? Now swing your arm and just push down on your shoulder so it relaxes. Down, boy. Down. Yeah, much better. Yeah, and do the other side. Yeah, good. Okay, so practice that wall exercise. The other one is tough to show on Zoom like this. So I'm going to let you look at it on the lesson, and it's the push hands, where again you're standing like this, and you stand in front of your student and you push their hands so that they can feel that they're going rearward. I don't care for that one so much. What I do like is this other one, I think that's what's called wrist to rib. You see the instructor standing behind the student with their hands up against their elbows. Okay, and the student swings their arms, and they need to hit their elbows into the hands. So this would be a really good one for you, Hari, because I don't see enough rearward arm swing. There's not a lot of pullback here. So if you could find somebody to stand behind you, what you do is you pull back both elbows, and then you have the person behind you, and that would be the instructor. You put your hands on my elbows right back here. So you need to watch the video, okay? And then you have the students swing their arms and they hit their hands. Okay, so again, the setup, pull your arms rearward, have the person standing behind you, put their hands on your elbows right there. Then you're going to swing your arms into their elbows. Into their hands, okay? And they're not moving their hands. So you have to reach your elbow as far back as you set them initially, okay? I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough. It's very hard to explain. So please watch the video.
Yeah, kind of like if you're doing a punching exercise with someone in front of you, but you're doing it with your elbows.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And the big mistake that people make is the person behind you, they start moving their hands to meet the elbows going back. You want them to set their elbows, and you set your hands there, so they have to swing their elbows back to your hands. Okay, the whole idea being that you're reaching back far enough instead of, a lot of people, most people run like this. Their arms are way in front of them, and there's no rearward effort. Okay, so getting people to do this, that is a different feeling. Okay, so really practice that. Arm swing in the mirror, you guys, is terrific. I mean, if you can do that, it'll help you with pelvic rotation, help you with your alignment, Ichi, the whole thing. So do some arm swing. Okay, I lied. It's top of the hour. We're not going to do lesson 5, but we're supposed to do lesson 5 next week. So I think it was a good lesson. But read through lesson 5, you guys. Lesson 5 is all about beginning running. And I'll just say one thing. I mean, you've now spent, if you're doing a workshop, a full, all these lessons, which is a long day. But if you get to this point, you've probably spent an hour and a half to 2 hours doing all these lessons. And now you're finally getting your client to run. So this lesson 5 is a very big lesson. And
It's desperate for a lesson at this point from previous experience.
What's that? Say that again, William?
Oh, well, by the time you get to this in the workshop, you want to run. You're like, I came here to run, and I've been standing around, like, moving my arms all day.
Exactly. So this one's really important. So if you're in lesson 5, here's what I want you guys to do. This is about, running in place and then falling forward from your center and people really seeing how your Dantian moves you forward. There's one piece of this that I really want you to study, and that's when they start running, the sentences that you say when they first start running. And there's 5 of them. It's really important. Pretend you're not running. You're just moving your Dantian ahead of your feet and lifting your ankles to keep up with your fall. Okay? Feel your feet on the bottom of your column. Another one is feel the crown of your head falling slightly ahead of your Dantian. Remember, you're falling a little bit ahead. Feel it doesn't matter how small your wheel is, as long as it's a wheel. We'll talk about that more, what a wheel is. So those 5 sentences you don't want to try and paraphrase them. Well, I paraphrase them a little bit. You want to be very concise because people are so they're probably in overwhelm at this point. They got all the posture and alignment and I Ching and arm swing and oh my gosh, my ankles are supposed to be relaxed and everything else. You just want them to listen to you like your voice is going into their body. And you just want to be really quiet. You don't want to over talk it because they're focused and they're trying to do what you're telling them to do. And these are the things to tell them what to do while they're first running. Really critical. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Vince will see you next week. I'll try and brief him about what we talked about, but you can tell him too.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Good night. Have a great week.
Bye, Hari. Take care.
Bye.